Hey everyone, so today I'm making a response video to an article that some friends shared on Facebook about homosexuality. So this should be fun. So the article itself is from Living Waters Publications and Living Waters Ministries. If you're not familiar with Living Waters Ministries, it's an organization put together by Ray Comfort. And if you don't know who Ray Comfort is, please Google Christian Banana Man or something like that. Watch the hilarity that ensues. Great content, 10 out of 10. He's a apologist, but a bad one. Not that there's really any good ones, but definitely like pretty bottom of the barrel. Like, say like worse than him would be like Kent Hovind and maybe a couple others, but pretty not great. The author is actually this guy named Alan Atzby, Atzbi. I don't know how to pronounce words, but it's written pretty recent, 2 weeks ago, maybe 3, on the 13th, and today's the 30th. So happy New Year's. It's like New Year's and happy holidays and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and kind of like read through this. So it starts out. One teen wrote, "I've been preoccupied these past months about my sexual orientation. All this began with my good friend Joe. We were very good close friends. We shared everything with each other. Then one night he came to my room, or when he came into his room, half naked, he looked different to me. He didn't feel like a normal friend to me anymore, though throughout the months I felt these strange feelings and looked at him somewhat differently. Girls are beautiful, but I'm not looking for girlfriends. I just like girls as normal friends, though I feel sexually attracted to them. Sexually, I think I feel more attracted to guys than girls. I guess it depends. I'm uncertain. I can assure you, however, these feelings aren't just sexual impulses. It goes deeper than that. It's an emotional and romantic sensation. My question is, how can I know with certainty about my sexual orientation? This question still haunts me." It's a pretty good opener. Sounds like a good start to an erotic novel. But this is a real teen struggle, and I get this. You know, maybe he's questioning his sexuality. These are important things. These are things that people should think about. But this is totally fine. It's totally normal. Nothing really to be worried about. Maybe this person will end up being bi, or maybe they'll realize that maybe they're just not into girls at all, and they're just gonna come out as gay or queer, and they're just not gonna try and put a label on it. Orientation, sexual orientation, that is totally fine. Like, these are things that, especially in your teen years, these are things that you're gonna be questioning. Back to the article. This teen is wrestling with strong emotions, confusing thoughts, and real questions. God is not silent on the subject of homosexuality. In this article, we will take an eye-opening look at God's heart on same-sex temptation. Oof! Already, I'm not happy with this. Like, it's already poisoning the well, making this like, oh, it's a bad thing already. It's temptation. You're being tempted. Poisoning the well right off the bat. Before that's the introduction. So first title. God hates gay bashing. Before we dive in, I want to apologize for all those who, in the name of Christianity, have been guilty of what is commonly called gay bashing. In John 15:12, Jesus said, "This is my commandment, that you love one another, as I have loved you." Anything Christians say or do should be motivated by love, and not amnesty. Though we are to warn people about sin, we should always do so in a spirit of gentleness and compassion. Gay bashing before they even say, like, oh, by the way, sorry for all those people that are gay bashing, but we're gay bashing here, and we're going to continue to gay bash throughout this article, as we'll see. And I just think that's really, really interesting that they're cherry picking this verse to be like, hey, we're sorry, so since we apologized, we can't possibly be gay bashing. We're not one of those people. Those are other Christians, like, yeah. And then they're going to go on and continue to do what they just said they shouldn't do. So, first title where we really start getting into it. I was born gay, quote unquote. 90% of gay men surveyed by The Advocate, a gay magazine, claim to have been born gay. And it's true. Homosexuals are born that way. We are all born with a sinful nature. We are all born with a sinful nature. So, hold the phone. Hold the phone for a second. They're like, people are born gay. They're like, yeah, we agree with this. We agree that they're born with a sinful nature. No. Wrong. Back it up. It's not a sin nature. In their brain, they are born this way. Maybe not even genetically, like it's in their brain, neurologically. There's the word I'm looking for. It is in their brain. This is how we are wired. It is an attraction. They have no control over this. They have no choice in this and who they are attracted to. You can't just be like, yes, we agree, but no, we do not agree. We're going to deviate and take that and equivocate it with this. We all naturally lean towards sin. The Bible tells us the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked, Jeremiah 17:9. According to the Bible, homosexuality is just one sin among many that people gravitate toward. Pity. No. The Bible can say a lot of shit stuff, but I don't care. I don't care what the Bible says. Reality is over here, and the Bible is over here. Bible really doesn't tell you much about reality, basically ever. It's pretty much just not a factor in reality. So when it's talking about homosexuality, whatever the Bible has to say, I'm going to take what reality dictates and believe that because I live in reality. And then if the Bible happens to get something right about the sky is blue, bravo. I don't care. But what it's saying, what they're interpreting out of this, is just a lie. They're like, oh yeah, it's born this way, but it's actually evil, and God says these things over here. Oh, who cares what your Bible says? Oh, right. Nobody should, but people still do, unfortunately. So they are equivocating a sin nature, the religious thing, and actually being born gay. These things are not equivocal. My one thing that I will say that it's nice, take this personally, Ray Comfort, I'm giving you a compliment, that it's just one sin among many, because a lot of Christians tend to be like, oh, well, I lie all the time on the DL, and I don't really care, but if people are like living in a sexual relationship, that is a sin. And as a Christian, that was something that I did find really annoying, is that people were like, oh, well, if you're gay, you're going to hell. And I'm just like, well, did you lie today? Okay, well, it also says don't lie in the Bible, so I guess you're going to hell too? And let's just continue reading, because they start talking about this again. Some struggle with lying, gossip, jealousy, stealing, adultery, lust, or fornication. Good old fornication. And others struggle with homosexuality. Just because a gay struggles with same-sex desire doesn't mean God made him gay. Any more than a guy struggling with anger means that God made him a murderer. These are not equivocal. The verse above, and it's true, homosexuals were born that way. Next one, God didn't make them that way. Either he did, or they are made this way, or they're not made this way. It's one or the other. You can't have both. You cannot have opposite things being true at the same time. Oh, wait. I've been misreading it. It says a guy. If a guy struggles with same-sex... It was funnier if it was a gay. Unfortunate reading. I can't read. Help me, please. Yeah, so if you struggle with same-sex desire, you're gay. Yay. Welcome to the best community ever. If you struggle with anger problems, doesn't mean you're automatically a murderer. In fact, hopefully if you have anger problems, you should seek actual help and not murder people, and probably very few people that have anger problems end up becoming actual murderers. So, way to stereotype your angry people, Jesus. You have a choice about what you do with every temptation. You may not choose homosexual desires, but you do choose what to do with them. Bullshit. No, don't do this. Don't listen to this shit. If you're LGBT, do not listen to this garbage. If you're LGBT and Christian, do not listen to this garbage. This shit messes people up. If you have a desire in your brain and you choose not to do that, it's not going to hurt anyone. It's all between consenting adults. You are only hurting yourself. And you will hurt yourself doing this. If you have same-sex desire, if you are gay, and you're like, well, I can just choose not to do these desires, and I'll just marry someone of the opposite sex that you're not interested in, you're going to mess with your head, and you're going to have a horrible time. Why would you do this to yourself? You'll be happier in a same-sex relationship, and you're like, God wouldn't like it. Even though I was born this way and I don't really have a choice in whom I'm attracted to, I'm just gonna, for the sake of social stigmas of my religion, my very specific religion denomination that I'm choosing to believe in, because there are lots of Christian denominations that are totally fine with same-sex marriage, because of the specific one that you're choosing to choose, you're going to deny yourself happiness and a happy same-sex relationship where you could be sexually fulfilled and you would be happier. So for straight people who might understand what this article is telling you to do, imagine your girlfriend, your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, some future lover, some future spouse, if you're straight people, lol. But imagine that person, and then imagine not being able to be with them ever. Never. It's a literal sin if you do this. And instead, you have to marry someone that you don't want to marry. You get to marry someone that you're not attracted to at all. The wrong gender, the wrong sex, the wrong whatever word you want to put in here that you're not attracted to. Like, can you still care about them as a person? Yeah, you can, because you're a human. But are you going to be as happy as you would be if you were married to the person that you actually love? No, you won't be. That you can just be like, well, I'm just going to choose to be happy and grateful about it. No, you're going to mess up your life by doing this. So TLDR, marry who you love. Be with the people that you love, same sex or not. Forget whatever this shit is. Continuing on. No one suits same-sex temptation. Listen to what this frustrated team posts on a message board. It stinks to be gay. Anyone who would rather have been born straight is lying. I'm teased, harassed, physically and mentally, and tortured. I know I can't change being gay or help it, but I wish I were straight. I feel like I'm being punished. I had no idea what was happening to me when I was younger. I started to look at boys differently, and not girls. It was horrible. I accept being gay, and life stinks for gays. So, do homosexuals choose temptation? No. Boy, did you read anything in that quote? He's teased, harassed, physically and mentally tortured. It's like I'm being punished. These aren't internal things that he's like, oh shit, I'm gay. I guess my life's ruined now. No, it's harder because people are assholes. It's harder because he's teased and harassed and tortured. These are outside influences, not because he happened to be born gay. This is a problem with society that makes it hard to be gay. It's the same problem with being trans or being lesbian or being anything in the LGBT. It's being a minority sucks because people hate you for no reason or for reasons that are unreasonable. Another quote about people just wanting to not be gay because of how people react. They read these quotes. These are actually like fairly decent quotes. And they just don't understand what they're trying to say at all. They read the quote and they're like, yeah, so they don't want to be homosexuals. And we're like, no, we don't want people to hate us. We're just being ourselves. Continuing on. Homosexual temptation may not be a choice, but homosexual behavior is. I'm just going to stop again right here before I finish. No. Okay. Like, one of my good friends is a part of the LGBT community, and they're a Christian, and they believe stuff like this. They said that they will not get married. They're going to be single their entire life because they're a lesbian, and they do not want to marry someone. They do not like men. They're not interested in men at all. They are strictly only women. They're not bi. They are a lesbian woman. And she's not going to get married because she thinks it will be a sin. And when I asked her, do you think you can be a lesbian and be a Christian? She's like, yeah, you can. It's totally fine. I just can't be married to a woman. And I'm like, well, because you can't be a lesbian. You can be a single person, be the shell of a lesbian. And it was really heartbreaking because as long as they believe what they do, they're not going to be able to experience those things. And it's so depressing. That's a different story. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's just go back to the thingy. In the same way, lustful heterosexual desire may not be a choice, but adulterous behavior is. So they're comparing same-sex relationships to adulterous relationships. They're like, if you're heterosexual and you want to get married to someone, that's fine. But if you're in a same-sex relationship and you want to get married or be intimate with someone of the same sex, then it's adulterous. You do know that, like, those are the same things, right? Like, adulterous behavior can happen in same-sex partners and also in heterosexual couples. Think of King David. He lusted after Bathsheba as she bathed herself. Perhaps he wrestled with his sinful thoughts about having sex with her. A lot of people just, they want the relationship aspect of the relationship. No, they're not just like, here just smashing. They love the people. Same-sex relationships aren't just about sex, because that's not what a relationship is about. Okay, there's an app for that. They want the intimacy. They want to be with this person that they love. They want to, like, wake up in the morning and make them breakfast. They want to, fall asleep, like, with that eye contact. They want to be able to, like, snuggle together and watch creepy movies, and that's what they want. They want to be able to, like, hold each other's hands. No, it's not just about sex. It's not like, oh man, everyone's just, all them gays are just out there just having lots of sex. No, like, same-sex relationships aren't just about that. Okay. Perhaps he wrestled with sinful thoughts about having sex with her. Perhaps he looked the other way and thought he had won the battle, but sexual thoughts flooded into his mind and overwhelmed him. It was all he could think about. If that was the case, he could then say, I was born this way, I can't help it, I fought these tendencies, but they're so overwhelming, I just have to accept that this is the way that God made me. And so he calls for Bathsheba and commits adultery with her. He was drawn to her by his own lusts, and he could have stopped at his lusts and asked God to forgive him, but he didn't. He made the deliberate choice to commit adultery. Look at what the Bible says about these sinful desires and where they take us. Bible verse here. People that are born, they like what they like, You can be born and like pancakes, which is good. And you can be born and you like waffles. That's also fine. That's great. You can only like pancakes, which is totally fine. And you can only like waffles, which is totally fine. Or you can like both or neither. All of these options are fine. But saying that someone who likes pancakes deserves to go to hell, while someone who likes waffles should go to heaven, and then everyone else who likes both or likes neither also goes to hell. This is not okay. And you're born either with one of these four options. Maybe there's a fifth. Maybe you like scones. But for the sake of this argument, there's only four options. So you like pancakes. You like waffles. These are not choices that you can make. You either do like them or you don't. Now, you cannot like pancakes and still eat pancakes. You cannot like waffles and still eat waffles. That part is the choice. You don't get to choose which one you like, though. So, same-sex temptations, same-sex attractions, sexual attractions in general, men, women, neither, both, everything that's not binary as well, that's all stuff that you don't get to choose. What you do get to choose is the people that you actually do end up marrying and stuff, or spending time with, or having sex with, or being friends with. And if they're a waffle, or a pancake, or a scone, or ice cream, that's fine. I don't care. And honestly, it's not anyone else's business either, so do whatever you want that makes you happy, that doesn't hurt other people, okay? The opposite of gay isn't straight. Do you believe that being homosexual is a sin? Mere 37 respondents considered it sinful. It's because we're progressing. We're getting somewhere. America is moving forward, finally. But this is not okay with Living Waters Ministries. They're like, we've lost sight of God and His Word. There's no gray areas with our Creator, which is funny because there are a ton of gray areas in life. Like, all of life is a gray area. He calls same-sex homosexuality a sin. And because it's a sin, we have a choice. So this is like the third or fourth time in this that it has been like, no, it's not a choice. Yes, it's a choice. No, it's not a choice. Yes, it's a choice. Like, they don't know what they're saying. It feels like no one read the article before they hit publish on the page. Then they quote, like, Leviticus 20:13 and Matthew 5:27-28. They bring up Sodom and Gomorrah. You can't take the sin of homosexuality lightly, or any sin lightly, because God doesn't. And if you don't, you're going to hell. I would highly recommend, there's a book called Unclobbered. It goes through a lot of these verses, plus some that they haven't mentioned. It's written by a Christian pastor, kind of like going through, looking at the stories, and the verses, kind of dissecting them both from like the Hebrew, Greek, and then looking at, I say similar stories, but they're essentially identical stories, explaining like how these verses actually have nothing to do with homosexuality, if you just know what they're talking about. So let's keep on reading. Ray Comfort's producer of the award-winning movie Audacity. It's not award-winning, no. What kind of award is it? Please. This whole article is essentially just an ad for his movie, which is like man of the street style, edited together garbage. Jesus never talked about homosexuality. Some argue that since Jesus never spoke against homosexuality, he must be okay with that. With that logic, you could also argue that since Jesus never endorsed it, it must be sinful. The fact that Jesus didn't talk about a lot of things, but God has already spoken on the subject of homosexuality very clearly. Rather than trying to justify a sin based on what Jesus didn't say, let's look at what he did. Matthew 19:4-6. He made them male and female. He didn't make them Adam and Steve or Adam and Eve. For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. In other words, they'll smash. Jesus clearly gives God's definition of marriage, except marriage is a legal term that we created. Yeah, marriage is essentially just a legal thing. Like, if you're like living together in a long-term relationship, that's the same thing to me as a marriage. The only difference is legal stuff and like sharing health insurance and taxes. Like, literally, it's just strictly legal stuff. God designed sex to be limited to marriage between a man and a woman, because if you have sex outside of marriage, your sex is gonna go wrong. Completely wrong. It's scientifically wrong. We know that homosexual relationships happen in nature, literally natural. Not two men, or two women. At least didn't get them trans people in there. Whew, saved. All other things could contradict God's definition of sexuality. Well, I don't give a shit about what God says, or what you think that God says, because, let's face it, God probably doesn't exist. Pedophilia, bestiality, adultery, fornication, and homosexuality. Yes, because the Bible is just the pinnacle of knowledge that we all look to for wisdom. It's not like we've made any progress in knowledge in the past 2,000 years about what the world really works. Is this it? Please tell me this is it. It's mostly over. It's done enough that I'm done. This whole thing is just an advertisement for his videos. It's a cheap method to get Christians to buy movies from this garbage person who has horrible, disgusting things to say and is fucking stupid. There's no sources at the bottom that backs up any of his claims. There's no actual thought put into this. It's literally just, well, here's my Bible that says this is wrong, but there's no reason for me to accept that your Bible is true. There's no reason for me to accept that your interpretation of the Bible is true. There's no reason. There's no actual reason. It's just, this is what I think. Here's some Bible verses that back me up, and some stories that I pulled from a message board. This seems legit. It's just terrible. And I know a lot of people that I know believe shit like this. That it's like, well, they can just choose what their actions are, and they can just choose to have a suboptimal life while I just fuck my husband and I'll just do whatever I want. It's fine. But them gays, burn in hell, bitch. It's actually terrible. If you do want to see Audacity, I would highly recommend going to Hugo and Jake. Just put that in YouTube, and then with like Audacity, they've reviewed a bajillion of Ray Comfort's videos, and I'm 99% sure they've done Audacity. I think I remember watching it. Don't quote me on that. But if you want to watch it, I would watch it there, because save yourself the pain of having to watch it in person. The people that believe this shit, you're bigoted and homophobic. This is still homophobic. Even if you say that it's not, it still is. Accept people for who they are. Love whoever the fuck you want. As long as you're not hurting other people, do whatever the fuck you want, okay? Think, use some reason, use some logic. Yeah, enjoy life, because it's pretty damn short. Anyways, have a nice night. This is Skylar signing off. What you do get to choose is whether or not you eat the pancake. I can't say this. God, this thing's so long. How? It's gonna be like an hour-long video.